contingency at $43,500. This is a map of that area and some pictures of the area currently. This is at the front end of the drainage. This is one of several drainage sewer lines that cross the channel, and this is heading toward the other end of the channel. And I will stop there to see if anyone has questions.
This time I'd like to invite anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this to come to the podium. Anybody for any of these items or projects listed? Please state your name and address for the record.
Low-income resident, Stillwater, Oklahoma, 74075. I'm not for or against. I would just wanted to take this opportunity to remind some of the council members who were present during that era, and those of you who are not aware. But at one point in time, the Community Development Block Grant Fund had a Citizens Advisory Committee. And the thrust of this committee was a monthly input. It wasn't a yearly input. In other words, city government had the opportunity to catch a mistake or a problem early instead of waiting till the last minute, a year down the road, and then we found out we've got a problem and now there's a mad scramble for funds. And in the process, homes that could use some beefing up got omitted. And as a result, here we are several years later still dealing with drainage problems. So I would merely ask this council to consider reinstating the Community Development Block Grant Advisory Committee so that you will be able to hear on a monthly basis what problems are faced in the city instead of waiting until the last minute, a year down the road. The only other thing I want to add regarding the block grant, I'd like to hear somebody explain what the public safety software is about, and the engineering and construction services. Are those performed by the city? Don't we have engineers that do that, or do we farm that out somewhere? And that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to open the floor to the council to make any motions or proposals regarding the items listed.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, would you like to have Desiree present the alternatives to the public?
Oh, please.
And then kind of go from that, if it's okay.
The alternatives proposed are, number one, to select any one or more of the projects listed for further consideration, including complete cost estimates and income surveys. Number two, select a project or projects identified at the public hearing for further consideration, including complete cost estimates and income surveys. Number three, direct staff to provide project alternatives that will cost no more than the grant and match amount for a total of $182,980. Or direct staff to not proceed with the CDBG State Small Cities Set-Aside Grant for 2009.
Thank you, Desiree. I declare this hearing closed.
Mr. Mayor? May I?
Yes.
I'd like to add a footnote to the alternatives, and thank you very much, Desiree, for the presentation. And what Desiree did exactly as we like to do, is to present you with the alternatives, and they're there for discussion. But in this case, I'd feel a little remiss if I didn't make a couple of minor recommendations here. I think that the last alternative, hopefully of just not taking the grant, is not, something I would recommend against. I think it's a great deal when you can get 50% of your money, and we did have the matching is in the proposed budget. The other thing, and I think there were some comments this evening, and again, reiterating what you heard last Monday, is it's going to be very, very difficult to appropriate additional funds. So at least from my chair, and what we know about our budgetary conditions, is as badly as some of these are needed, you may want to consider alternative number 3 real seriously, which would be to ask the staff to see if we can identify a project that fits within the funding. If you choose one of these, which are both great projects, we're going to have to do some real intense looking to determine how we want to add the additional funding should you choose either of those. So just things I think you're aware of, but I just felt that I should reiterate some of those things a little bit for you. And thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Council?
I'd like to make a couple of comments. I've looked at both of these pretty hard, and both of them are very worthy projects, and obviously both need attention in a bad way, and everyone understands we're budget strapped this year. I'm on board with our city manager when he says don't ever let money go, if we can avoid that. I would like to address a couple of issues that, we may need to get answers to, and one thing I'd hate to see is picking one of these and getting down the road and losing the opportunity for our money. And I understand with the second one we may have some easement issues. We may have, I would like to see us keep that on the radar, but I would hate to have that be one we picked and then lose our grant money down the road due to something out of our control. If anybody has anything to add to that, I mean, I'd like to say, boy, I sure want to figure out a way to get both these projects done. I just don't know when the correct timing is, and I'd like to keep them both on the radar.
I think the comments we had from the city manager were good from the standpoint that we've got budget sessions coming up. We've got another special session on Thursday. They give staff a little bit of time to look at these. Councilor Doherty's brought up a couple of really good points, and I concur with him. This is an infrastructure thing that in that area that really needs to take a look at, but it's higher than even the match money, so I'm okay with providing direction to the city manager through staff to look at the areas in which we can appropriately use all the CDB money that from the small cities allocation that is available to us, and at the same time as we're moving forward with things like Count Stillwater, that's going to bring us into a competitive situation in future years that might give us a even larger funds to accomplish more things for the community. I think it's appropriate time that I can concur with the city manager on his recommendation.
What kind of time frame do we have on this block grant?
That was my question.
Desiree, how much time do we have to make this decision on what project to pursue? We have to submit before July 1st.
If we decide as a council that we're going to put some money into our sewers, which I sure hope we do, I'd sure like to have Mr. Daniels' input as to whether this money allocated in that direction, along with the money we budget, would be an appropriate item as well. I mean, that sure influenced my decision.
My comment was same as we brought up lately. If we don't have to make the decision tonight about which project, I would like to wait until we're further into the budget to see where we are going to put the priorities for our resources, because $182,000 would be well down the road to helping with either of these projects that we would choose if we choose to add some additional money to the infrastructure. Can we delay that, is that question?
Yeah, I think we can do that through the budget work sessions and see, as you set those priorities. For example, the drainage ditch that you saw pictures of